Hey everyone, we'll get started in just a bit here. Um, Welcome to Getting Started in Tinkercad, hosted by CITL Innovation Spaces. If you haven't already, go ahead and take a moment to create an account and sign up in Tinkercad. It's a free program. You don't really need very much information in there besides an email and a password. It's super simple. So I'll let you take a moment to do that. The web address is right here, and then we'll get started. On another note, I hope everyone is doing good. Everyone's being safe. Appreciate everyone staying at home, um, helping out during this epidemic. If you haven't checked out our Facebook page, this is a great time to do so. You're probably finding us through Facebook, so hopefully you've seen it before. But we're CITL Innovation Spaces. We do have some other virtual workshops planned and coming up here over the next couple of months, and you can learn a little bit about us, see some things that we've done in the past as well. There's a bunch of really cool photos of things that students have made in our spaces and things that people have learned about. So feel free to zoom around and check in there. If you have questions, you can send us a message on Facebook, or feel free to email us at armoryinnovationspaces@gmail.com. All right, once again, if you're just joining us, hi, my name is Megan Baird. I work at the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning at the University of Illinois. I work in the Tech Hub, which is one of the CITL innovation spaces that's on campus. We're based out of the Armory, but of course, right now we're going virtual. We're all working remotely from home. If you haven't been to our Facebook page, please go ahead and have a visit. You'll see some other stuff that we've been doing remotely. There are some tutorials. We just posted a tutorial on how to use Discord if anybody's interested in that. We'll be continuing to release, at least on a weekly basis, some different virtual workshops. So I highly suggest checking those out. And while I'm talking about learning virtually, right now, just so you know, I am using Facebook Live, has a screen sharing application built into their program. So it's really nice. You don't have to use another separate third-party program to actually do screen sharing now with Facebook Live. Normally, while starting a presentation, I would show you my face and say hi and introduce myself. However, the only caveat with this program is that you can't switch back and forth easily between screen and camera. So I'm waving at you right now and saying hi, but let's go ahead and get started. So hopefully you've already gone ahead and made your free Tinkercad account. It's, like I said, it's super easy and it's free. This is a free browser-based program, which we love because you don't have to actually download anything. You can access it from any computer, which makes it really easy then to take your models and get them printed in places. Okay, so this is my personal account. You can see a couple things that I've done here. Basically, what we are going to get started with today is we're going to do just kind of a quick reference lesson on how to get started in Tinkercad, and then I can kind of show you a few other things that I've created personally. The main thing that we're going to focus on creating is a box. So you can see this is a little more of a dressed up box that I made. It's essentially what we're doing now, and then I went in and created these other little design elements. So you can actually do quite a bit with this free program. All right, and just another note, this video will be available later. I should be able to check on comments as well. Yep, I'm seeing Jamie's on here. Hi, Jamie. Jamie Nelson also works at the Tech Hub. He runs the Tech Hub and I'm his assistant. So if you do have any other questions or comments, it looks like Jamie's kind of monitoring the comments, so feel free to go ahead in there and ask us a question. All right, so getting started with our tutorial. First thing I want you guys to check out is this Learn section of the website. If you need to reference anything that I'm doing here and you don't feel like watching this video and listening to me talk through it again, these are all excellent little starter tips and tools. This is really how I even got started learning in Tinkercad. Is I just worked through all of these different steps, and it made it really easy for me then to go ahead and learn how to make my own designs as well as alter other designs, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So let's go ahead and start a new design. You just click on Create New Design like I just did. It'll take a moment. So Tinkercad always gives you these really funky little names for your projects. So we're going to go ahead and change that from sizzling trudge bidgery to, we're just going to do box, because that's what we're going to work on today. So the first thing we're going to do is place the item in this grid area that we have here. So this is going to be your work plane, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and grab a box, but just wanted to note that there are a bunch of different already pre-designed shapes in here, as you can see. Even these really cool little stars, diamond shapes, dice, rings, and these are all shapes that you can also make yourself, but it's definitely nice that they're already created in here for you. So we're going to grab this solid box. We just click, drag, and drop it onto our work plane here. Super simple. Next, we're going to work on viewing this box at different angles. So you have this little box actually up here in your left-hand corner, and this is a really easy way to look at the different angles of your 3D design. You can click around and look at them that way. I don't really use this tool a ton because as you can see, it's really limiting in the angles that you look at. I mean, even though I can look at it from all the angles that you would presumably need. But the best way to zoom around and view things at different angles is to hold your control button on your keyboard and click and drag. So right now I am just holding the control button on my keyboard, my mouse is pressed down, and I'm just dragging around the space, and then I'm able to look at my design from all these different angles. And we're just gonna move that guy in the center there. Same thing, all you need to do is click and drag, and you can even zoom in and out. If I'm looking at a different part of my design, I'm like, oh, I want to look back at this box that I really wanted to focus on. There's this little handy dandy center tool here that'll help you zoom in right on the object that you're clicked on. Great. Okay, next thing I wanted to go over real quick is rotating. So as you can see, when you click on the box, all these different features come up. I can see the actual size it is. I can see the height that it's at, which is this little teardrop here. That'll tell you how high or low it is above the plane. You want it to be at 0, setting on your plane for now. And it also has these angle tools that come up. So I can rotate this into any angle that I want. If I want to be more specific, I move my mouse farther away. If I'm like, I just want to rotate it really quickly, then you can have it closer. I kind of like to have it somewhere in between. We're going to put it back there. So there's one of those on the top as well as one on the side for rotating your objects around. Yes, or Jamie says, or you can right click your mouse and move the object into view. He's correct. Just for that other element that we were talking about earlier. All right, so next we're going to talk about sizing our object, because this is kind of a small box. It's not going to hold very much right now. So what I'm going to do is just grab one of these corners, and you can see that's one way to expand it. If I change my view here, holding down control once again, I can get a better idea of the size that it is. I can also click this little box up top and change the height. All right, now I'm going to click back real quick because I want to show you. This is the undo button, by the way. Also really important. I use that quite a bit. You can click on your object, hold down the shift key on your keyboard, and then while you're resizing it, it's going to basically remain the same shape. you're not going to change the other proportions. So that's really, really handy if you're like, I want this to stay the exact same proportions, I just want it to be bigger. Hold down that shift key while you're changing the sizes around. And that's actually what I'm going to go do now. I want this box to be bigger, however, I don't want it to be this tall. So I'm going to shrink it down here. Another side note with these numbers, you'll see everything's in millimeters. So if you are trying to make something a specific size, just make sure that you're doing the correct conversions. You don't want to make something in millimeters when you really meant it to be in inches. Okay. So next I'm going to show you, obviously this is a nice square or rectangle, but however, doesn't really hold anything right now because there's no hole in the center. So the other great thing that Tinkercad does is it allows you to change any shape into what's called a hole, so it's going to basically be a cut shape. It already has these two set up here for you. However, you can change any of these into a cut shape or a hole simply by clicking on this button right here. We're going to keep that solid. You can also make it different colors if you want. However, the colors don't really matter in your print at the end. They're not going to print out in that color. It's more for helping you distinguish different parts. So, oops. Let's go ahead and let's drag this box over here, our cut shape. And I'm going to change my angle so that I can see it from the top down. And once again, I'm going to hold shift so that it remains the same size. And this isn't going to be particularly pretty at the moment, just to give you an idea. So right now you can see if I go all the way down, it is going to cut straight through, especially if I physically lower this cut shape into the plane. Excuse me. And you'll see with this next step that I'm going to do how you can view these as a whole piece. So in order to view them as a whole piece, we have to group these objects together. So what you do is you click and drag, and you're going to highlight all those pieces that you want to group together. And then there's this little handy dandy group tool up here, or you can press Control G if you're into the keyboard shortcuts. It'll take a moment, and then we can see we have a cut shape. So what if I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. I don't want this to be a box where everything falls out the bottom. So we're going to re-highlight. We're going to click Ungroup, and then I can go back in and change. Oops. See, there's that undo tool. You have to click outside of the box, click back onto that one. It's the only one I want to change the height on. And we can kind of see where it's at. Right here, it's showing me how far it is from the actual bottom of the plane. We'll do 6 millimeters, that's fine. Highlight and group. All right, awesome. So now I've got this nice little box here. So a couple other things to show you, just some other things that you can do, because that's basically what we were trying to accomplish today, is there's this handy dandy awesome text shape. If I wanted to label my box, I could certainly do that. If this was a gift for someone or something for my desk, that's particularly a good idea. I didn't hold down shift is why it's being all funky. And the tricky thing to get used to in Tinkercad and other 3D model software, just a note, is working with things in this 3D way. You have to really look at things from a whole bunch of different angles, because you realize just because you place it in a way that makes sense in 2D doesn't mean it looks great in 3D. All right, so I've got it right now, so it's embossed. It'll be sticking out if it's 3D printed. But I can click this whole button, group them together, and then you'll see if I was going to 3D print this, instead of it being something letters that pushed out, they'd actually be embedded in the box. And then also, like I mentioned, you can change any shape into a cut shape. And that's really how you use Tinkercad. It's pretty simple. There's a bunch of really awesome shapes and tools that are already incorporated in here. There's a bunch of other lessons and things you can do. There's a mirroring tool. There's an aligning tool. So if I wanted things to line up a certain way, you can do those. And if you wanted to learn more about Tinkercad, I would just definitely suggest going through their little learning steps there. There's also a lot of really great YouTube videos on how to use Tinkercad and little workarounds for how to do things. People have found out ways to use this in a lot of different formats and for a lot of different designs. One other thing I do want to mention, besides obviously, once again, going to our fantastic Facebook page here, which would be great, is this website that we use a lot called Thingiverse. So this is a free platform where everyone that's designed different models can go and upload their designs, and you can then go and download them and place them into Tinkercad and edit them or customize them or just, get them ready for 3D printing at home. And the awesome thing about the 3D printing community is people are extremely willing to share their designs for free. So most of the stuff on here, if not almost all the stuff on here, are free designs, which is really fantastic. So even if you don't know where to begin, you're a little nervous about designing your own thing from scratch, you can come to this website and download something very easily and then upload it into Tinkercad. It's essentially everything on here is free. There are also, if you're interested in laser cutting, there are some laser cutting files on here for free, although not quite as many, just a heads up. So that's all we're going to do today for Tinkercad. Once again, my name is Megan Baird. I work at the Center for Innovation in Teaching and Learning, which includes the Tech Hub, the VR Lab, and the Innovation Studio in the Armory on campus. We really miss having everybody come out to our spaces. So hopefully you learned a little bit today, some fun stuff to do at home. And check in to our Facebook page for more upcoming events. We'll be posting some other workshops that are coming up, and we also will continue to release some other content like this Discord video that you'll find on here. Everybody have a great day, be safe, and thank you for tuning in.